Hello. This review is of the movie Disquiet, starring Jonathan Rhys Meyers. And he's driving somewhere after having dropped off his wife at work and is distracted by his mobile phone. Goes into an intersection where a man is coming toward him with a large pickup truck, I believe, or maybe a very big SUV, and turns out to be drunk, and slams right into the driver's side, knocking him unconscious. He wakes up to find a police officer on one side and a paramedic on the other side, and there's something weird about it because the police officer is very cavalier about the fact that the driver that struck him is dead. Almost like they're glad. Whereas the paramedic just seems concerned about him and offers his hand, which is very strange because, a paramedic's not going to say, just give me your hand. It just doesn't make sense. So he wakes up in a hospital. He's attached to tubes. He's got a tube down his throat. He's got an IV. He's got the sensors on his chest for the monitor, checking his checking his pulse and stuff. And for some reason, as soon as he wakes up, this guy has a bandage on his head. He's feeling miserable. He's struggling to breathe. The first thing he does, which makes no sense to me, is he pulls his IV out and he pulls the sensors off. Oh, I'm sorry. That was the second thing he did. The first thing he did was ring the nurse call button over and over again. And it shows you that in the hallways, there's nobody. The only other person in the room is this really, really old guy. And he looks like he's catatonic. He's lying in his bed. His eyes are closed. He's got tubes going into him and stuff. So that's when he rips off the IV and the sensors. And finally, the last thing, the thing that's making him choke, he pulls the tube out of his mouth. I thought, something gross was going to come out with at the end of the tube, but nothing gross comes out at the end of the tube, thankfully. And then he, if I just had a major accident where I got hit like that, I would not be getting out of bed, much less removing my IV sensors and intubation. It's just very bizarre. So I don't know. I feel like that was the first indication that there's something deeply wrong here. But, it's expected because the movie's called Disquiet, right? So he goes out into the hall looking for somebody to help him. And suddenly the old man that was comatose in the other bed comes raging out at him and starts choking him. He manages to get away from the man long enough to grab a scalpel, and then he stabs the man in the neck, and again and again and again and again until the man is dead. And ultimately, he turns away to look at something else. When he turns back, the body of the man is gone. The blood is still there, but the man is gone. It's like, whoa, Michael Myers. And things just get weirder. There's an orderly, a nurse, dressed up in the old-fashioned nurse's uniform who comes. And she's like very serious, and she talks to him, and then she disappears. And then the old man disappears too. Again. And it's like, okay, maybe the guy's hallucinating. Now, I'm not going to tell you. Okay, I don't want to spoil it for you. I want to let you figure it out for yourself. It didn't take me long to figure it out. But, so he's alone again. Goes out, gets attacked again, finds some other people, gets attacked again. He gets stabbed trying to save one of the other patients in the hospital. He saved a guy that's cuffed to a gurney and is just save somebody, get attacked. Save somebody, get attacked. Save somebody, get attacked. And they find a cop, and the cop is just like, clearly the dude is like totally freaked out and very, very aggressive. He's like, I'm going to get out no matter what. And it's like, I recognize the cop. I recognize that character. And then there's this weird situation where he is in the stairs. The cop goes running off, and you hear gunfire. And so he stays together with the woman he saved and the man that he uncuffed. Goes off. They go down. They decide to get out of the building by going down to find the bottom floor so they can exit. Because the floor they're on, although there's a waiting area in it, there's no exit door. Where you would think there'd be an exit door, there's a wall with a big window in it. And when you look out, it's just sheer blackness. Nothing but blackness. So they start going down, and he gets separated from the other two. They go ahead of him. And he starts going down, and he sees that there's fire down below. And he doesn't know what had happened to those two people he helped. All he knows is they didn't wait for him. So he is standing there trying to figure out what he should do, and somebody suddenly grabs him and pulls him into the hallway out of the stairwell. But before that happens, he looks up, and he looks up at the top of the stairs, and there's a lot of light. Like there's no roof for something. Or there's a really bright light up there. So he's like, that's why he doesn't move. He's confused. Do I go up? Do I go down? He has no signal. So this guy pulls him out. It's a gigantic orderly. And the guy is like, grabs him by the neck. He says, you don't want to go down there. And he's just ranting. And suddenly this woman in a doctor's coat, very attractive woman. I've seen her before. I just can't remember her name. But she comes, and she's got this gigantic pipe wrench, and she smacks that orderly really hard. This is bizarre. Okay, they're in and I've skipped over the fact that the people that are in here are either mutilated or their faces are like there are strips of flesh over their eyes after a while, and it's just people are looking really freaky. The doctor doesn't look freaky. She looks totally normal. At first, the orderly is normal, and then his eyes get all covered with strips of flesh, too. Now, I don't mean bloody flesh. I mean it's like overgrown, you know. But she clocks him really good. He falls down. She takes John and takes him back to his room, or a room, anyways, and medicates him, apparently, and treats the knife wound or scalpel wound he's got in his side from one of the women who he saved the woman from, who is a Monica, I think her name was. And the guy who was handcuffed was Walker or something like that. But anyways, not so important. What is important is he wakes up, immediately removes the IV and stuff again. I guess he doesn't like being in the hospital. I understand some people hate being in the hospital. Immediately, he finds a container of oxycodone, pops a pill because he's in pain. And he eventually has more bad experiences with the crazy man that's trying to choke him to death, and meets up with Monica and Walker again, and meets the cop again, and just things just start getting crazier and crazier and crazier, and you're starting to feel more and more like, is this guy nuts? Is he totally off his rocker? Is he hallucinating this? Is this all like a nightmare he's having while he's comatose? And you're just second guessing yourself because it just gets weirder and more threatening for him. And at some point, you may tip over and realize what's going on. There are definitely some very obvious hints and some less obvious hints. I think it probably took me all of about maybe 10 minutes into the movie or something like that before I realized that. Maybe it was 15, 20 minutes. I don't know. But I've watched too many movies in my life. Probably well over 1,000. So don't feel bad if you don't get it as quickly as I did. But, you know, it's like, is this an award-winning movie? No. They didn't pull it off well enough. Is it interesting? Yes. Does it have a good message? Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I'm not going to tell you what that message is except to say that it's a matter of, are you going to make good choices or are you going to make bad choices in your life? And you know, the end of the movie is kind of a little bit heart-wrenching and stuff. It's kind of sad. But yeah, it's a good movie. It's not a great movie, but it's a good movie. I'll give it a 7. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.